Hey guys, it's your average middle-aged American back again with another reaction video. I am excited to go, at least virtually, to Switzerland. This will be our first Switzerland video. Ran a little poll and Switzerland was the next country voted on for me to check out. So I am excited to do so. I have not seen this video, so we'll see it together. And enough jibber jabber. Let's just get on with it.
What's up guys, my name is Ryan and I spent the last several years exploring the incredible country of Switzerland, and I want to share with you my favorite places. So here's my Switzerland top 25. If anyone asks me where my favorite country is, I'll always reply with Switzerland.
Yeah, Ryan does these videos and it's just amazing videography. He makes me quite nervous because he always goes like right to the edge of cliffs, and he's always climbing up stuff and jumping off stuff into the water. And I tell you, he's braver than I am and a lot more athletic, so more power to him. He's going to have memories that last him the rest of his life, but I'm sure there'll be some shots in here of him just, 6 inches from the edge of a cliff that's 1,000 feet down. I'm literally 20 seconds into Switzerland. It's beautiful.
It's not only absolutely beautiful, but Switzerland is one of the most well-run, clean, and just overall perfect country on earth, in my opinion. From endless enchanting villages to the majesty of the Alps, you'll understand why I love it so much.
There he goes.
Visit. Let's start this video off at Grindelwald. Almost every time I come to Switzerland, I find myself back at this enchanting village. I mean, when you think of Switzerland, this is it. Swiss chalets, green pastures, and mountains everywhere you look. It never ceases to blow my mind. Now, Grindelwald is overshadowed by the Eiger Mountain. The Eiger's north face rises over 1,800 meters high and is considered to be one of the most challenging climbs in the Alps. Now, in Grindelwald, there's just so much to do. Me and my brother rented some e-bikes and we rode them up the mountain. We made it to the famous first cliff walk and checked that out, and then
I'm pretty sure that's a glass floor. See, that alone just freaks me out. Let alone being on the edge of a cliff that doesn't have any guardrails or anything. This is for the normal people. He'll probably climb on the other side of it and do chin-ups or something. It's a beautiful place, beautiful country already.
Then we rode to the Kalpsee Lake. I mean, I can't recommend Grindelwald enough. There's just something magical about this Swiss village. Now, after, we're going to head over to Hard.
Look at that. I mean, oh. I guess they don't have to worry about their neighbors throwing parties on Friday night. Can you imagine living there? Although I imagine it's quite cold in the winter, but holy smokes, look at that view. That doesn't even look real. That looks like somebody painted a background and they took some little miniature model stuff and made this forest, and then they just did like an overlay with a little animated house. That's insane.
Lauterbrunnen. I recently visited this iconic spot and I was pleasantly surprised. Now, to reach Lauterbrunnen, you can walk from the Interlaken train station and then you'll take up this steep funicular that costs about $35. Now, when you reach the top, there's a restaurant and incredible viewing area. If you want, you can hike up the mountain ridge to Hardergrat. I underestimated how far it was, but it still was beautiful up there. Now, one of my favorite features of Lauterbrunnen is the view that you get of the iconic Eiger, Monk, and Jungfrau mountains. I think one of the best times to go up here is during sunset. The light hits those mountains perfectly and creates for an amazing atmosphere up there. After, we're going to head over to eastern Switzerland to visit Zilsersee. Located a few minutes outside of St. Moritz, I think this is one of the best places to experience the golden larches in the fall. The lake is just massive. It's the largest natural lake in the Alps above 1,000 meters. One of the unique features of the lake is this peninsula. It's almost like a connected island that juts out into the lake, and it's a great place to hike and explore some nature. There's a road that goes along the lake's edge, and I like just pulling off to one of the many rest stops and enjoying the beauty of this alpine lake. Now afterwards, we're going to take a drive on the nearby Bernina Pass. It's a scenic road that connects St. Moritz to the Italian border. On the drive, you'll witness massive mountain glaciers, and if you go in autumn, there's going to be tons of those golden larches. Now, one of the main reasons I wanted to go on the Bernina Pass was to see the Brusio Spiral Viaduct. It's located right near the Italian border in the town of Brusio. It's this incredibly unique viaduct that was built in 1908 to reduce the incline gradient on the train. Now, the famous Bernina Express rides along the viaduct many times during the day. While you're there, you can walk around and under the viaduct's 9 arches as you wait for the Bernina Express to pass by. After, we're going to go for a swim at Valle Versasca. Located in the Italian region of Switzerland, Valle Versasca is famous for having this medieval bridge that goes over some of the clearest river water in the world. I've been here several times, and every occasion I'm just baffled by the beauty of this place. The water is crystal clear, and the bridge is a prime place to do some cliff jumping. It took me a while to build up the courage to jump, but I was able to throw a gainer into the water. Another fun thing you can do is swim in the river. I brought some goggles, and I couldn't believe the clarity of the water. The rocks look so interesting from beneath, and even though it was cold, there's just something energizing about swimming in freezing cold water. After, we're going to visit the city of Zurich. Located in north-central Switzerland, Zurich is one of the world's largest financial center. It's often labeled as one of the most expensive cities in the world. Now, Zurich was founded by the Romans in 15 BC, and today it's the most populous city in Switzerland. I mean, it's just hard to beat the scenery of the city there. I love how it sits at the edge of the lake, and the Limmat River runs right through it. Another thing that I love about Zurich is there's so many places that are just an hour or two's drive from the city. One of my favorite nearby places is Limmernsee. It's about an hour and a half drive from Zurich. You start by taking up a cable car, and when you reach the top, you're going to go through a 3-kilometer tunnel through the mountain. I believe it was originally built by a company who made the dam, and now you could walk through it. We reached the end and we arrived at the lake. It's a striking turquoise color surrounded by an amphitheater of mountain walls. Now, the hike to the top was freaking hard. It's very steep and felt like it went on forever.
Yeah, if he says it's hard, then it's hard. Because that dude climbs on everything. What a beautiful place. That tunnel's a little weird, ain't gonna lie. And they could light that thing up better or something. It's a little spooky. I'm just dumbfounded at how beautiful this place is. Now, all this land, is this government? Is this protected? Is this like considered a park? It's just amazing.
But after about an hour, we made it to the iconic viewpoint.
There he goes, a foot away from the cliff. He's crazy. Got some unbelievable videos, though. You really need to check out his channel if you haven't already.
It's this rocky peninsula that gives you a perfect view of the reservoir below. I just had a blast running around up there. I mean, there's no greater feeling than running free in the mountains. Afterwards, we're going to visit Vernalpstok. Vernalpstok is this giant mountain that sits above Lake Lucerne. Now, to reach it, you take the Stoesbahn funicular.
Look at this place. Okay, so granted, okay, I assume these are homes. I mean, I'm sure some of them are hotels and lodges or whatever. But what about like all the other green space that doesn't have anything? Is that land that people own that can build on later, or is that just all like part of the government controlled? Which is so wild. You know, like over here on the left, there's a little, a couple little houses or businesses, whatever they are. But then could I just, go like 100 yards behind there and build another house? So that I'm not right next to somebody?
funicular, which is the steepest in Europe, and it'll take you to the beautiful car-free village of Stews. And from there, you'll take up 2 more chairlifts. Now, once you reach the top, you'll have a phenomenal view of Lake Lucerne and the surrounding mountains. From Vernapstock, you can make the hike to Klingenstock. It's a 4.4 kilometer trail that rides along the ridge. And once you reach Klingenstock, you can take the chairlift down to Stews. Overall, such a beautiful area. Now after, we're going to visit Schäßerrück, located in eastern Switzerland, about a 2-hour drive from Zurich. This is a mountain peak and also a ski resort in the winter. Now to reach the top, you'll take up a funicular and then another chairlift. When I reached the top, I was just stoked. It had just snowed the night before, so there was this fresh layer of powder, and it created for such a beautiful scenery. What I love about Schäßerrück is the view you get of the Schierfürsten mountain range. It's a set of peaks that look like teeth coming out of the mountain. I mean, it's so cool, and I love to come up here during the summertime. While you're up there, you can get a bite to eat at the Modern Lodge, where there's plenty of hiking trails with amazing views. Right below Schäßerrück is one of my favorite lakes in Switzerland, Valensee. It's this rather large lake, and it's surrounded by mountains on both sides. I mean, it's an amazing place to go swimming or boating in the summertime. One thing that I thought was so interesting was that there's this town that was built on the mountainside called Almer. I mean, it just baffles me that the Swiss are able to build villages and towns in the most unlikely places. After, we're going to head over to the mountains of Appenzell. Located about an hour outside of Zurich, these mountains quickly became one of my favorite places I've ever been. It's home to these massive, jagged mountains that look like something straight out of Lord of the Rings. Now to get up the mountain, I took a gondola, and then from the top, we hiked about an hour to reach this hotel. Me and my buddy Danny decided to stay the night so we could watch the sunset. We got all settled.
I mean, seriously? Listen, the place is beautiful, but I can't sleep on a slab of wood. Am I missing something? Is the wood just flush with the mattress? It's like, it's like, is the mattress sunk into is the wood like a coffin, and then there's a mattress that makes it flush on the top? And even so, it's pretty small. I'm assuming this is based on how much you want to pay for a room, and not all the rooms are like this. And God, please tell me that all the rooms in Switzerland aren't like this. It can't be. This has got to be a college student kind of thing.
Settled in, then we ventured off to find the perfect spot to watch the sunset. The clouds were covering the sky, so we only had
I mean, your back may be killing you, but you're going to have a beautiful view. It really is a stunning country.
about 15 minutes of sunlight, but man, it was easily one of the best sunsets of my life.
He's nuts.
I mean, I just can't believe the beauty of these mountains. It's what dreams are made of. Now, there's also a one-of-a-kind restaurant built into the side of a cliff, and there's also this incredible lake at the bottom. Both of them I failed to visit, so don't make my mistake if you come. After, we're going to visit the nearby Saxerluke. Now, I've been wanting to do this hike for years, and I finally did it this fall. You can start the hike several ways. I took the cable cart from Frumsen, and it was about 36 Swiss francs round trip, and one.
So it seems to be that the business to be in is the cable cart business, a cable car business. I mean, it's amazing how many there are. It never even dawned on me, but I guess with the terrain the way it is, you don't have much of a choice. But this thing's pretty safe. I mean, I'm assuming they've had them for years and years and years. Is that government run, or is that are those private industry type transportation? Let me know. If you know, let me know. Trademarked.
When you reach the top, there's this scenic mountainside restaurant that has some amazing views of Austria and Liechtenstein. Now you can follow the trail to Saxerluke. It wasn't too difficult and took about 45 minutes to reach the iconic rock formation. I mean, I was just freaking excited to be up there. It's such a uniquely shaped mountain, and there's plenty of great viewpoints to see it from. I was here during the fall, so the grass was yellow, but I'd love to come back in the summertime when everything's nice and green. I mean, I just love the mountains in the Appenzell region.
Look at
They're
him.
just so.
What it? All right, I have to know, and I don't want to be dark here, but what's the number of tourists that have fallen off of these trails that don't have any rails or safety support or anything. Does this happen, or is it just no one's crazy enough to go up to one of these little peaks like this? Let me know, because it blows my mind that it's even accessible, let alone people doing it. I mean, it would take nothing. You could sprain your ankle, you could get a muscle cramp, you could just, get dizzy or something, and I mean, that's instant death. God, I'm old. I'm sure he didn't think about any of that.
So unique and just such a beautiful area all around. After, we're going to head over to western Switzerland to visit the charming medieval town of Gruyere. I was here this last summer and I was just blown away by this little town. The crowning feature of Gruyere is its castle. It was built in the 13th century and today it stands as one of Switzerland's most famous fortresses. I just love the backdrop it has of the Alps.
Look at that. Look at that. I love castles. I love castles. All right, I'm assuming this is not privately owned. This is some kind of a government historical museum / tourist destination. Let me know. But could you imagine living there? How cool is that?
I mean, just such an insane location. Aside from the castle, the town is just fun to walk around, and it's also known for being the home of the famous
Where do you park? type. Let it go in the comments section.
Gruyere cheese, which is one of the most popular cheeses in all of Switzerland. Now afterwards, we're going to head to the nearby Glacier 3000. Now located about an hour from Gruyere, Glacier 3000 is this incredible mountain area. Now the main reason I wanted to go here was to visit the Peak Walk, which is the only peak-to-peak bridge in all of Switzerland. We had to take 2 gondolas up to get there, and when we reached the top, we were at the edge of some clouds. I mean, it was just so wild to be up there, and I'd love to go back on a clear day to get a better view of the mountains. Now, right below Glacier 3000, there's this place called Creux du Champ. It's this gigantic bowl of mountains, and there's several waterfalls that cascade down the rock face. Now, the mountains in the bowl are called the Les Diablerae, which translates to the devils because there's a myth that devils and demons would throw rocks off the top of the mountain. Now, to get to the bowl, it's about a 45-minute walk from the town of Les Diablerae. I mean, it's just such a scenic and quiet area and definitely worth the visit. Now afterwards, we're going to visit one of my favorite cities in all of Switzerland, Geneva. Located on the southern tip of Lake Geneva in western Switzerland, Geneva is Switzerland's second most populous city after Zurich. I was lucky enough to live here for a summer and I just absolutely loved it. It's where the headquarters of the United Nations are, so there's a lot going on. The Geneva water fountain is one of the city's most famous landmarks as it jets out water that shoots over 140 meters high. I mean, I just love Geneva and I hope you all can visit one day. Now, if you want to explore more of Lake Geneva, I recommend checking out the vineyards that border the lake. Wow. One of my favorite places is near this village called Epis. It's full of terraced vineyards that accompany the view of the massive lake. I mean, it doesn't even feel like you're in Switzerland. I felt like I was in France or Italy. The north shore of Lake Geneva is called the Swiss Riviera, and I totally understand why. Now, afterwards, we're going to visit Oceanense. Now, I think this is one of the most impressive alpine lakes in all of Switzerland. To reach it, it's about an hour's drive from Interlaken, and then you can either hike up or take up a gondola. Now, when you reach the top, it's just a short walk to the lake. The mountain face that serves as the lake backdrop is just unbelievably massive. Now, if you go in the summertime, you can take a boat or swim in the water if you can handle the cold. Now, one of my favorite things to do in Oceanense is to hike the trail that goes above the lake. You'll just get some phenomenal views up there, and there's also this pair of pine trees that are perfectly lined up as they overlook the lake and creates for such a beautiful sight. Now, after, we're going to head over to Pfälzeralb. Special thanks to my buddy Gemographic for taking me here. He has one of the best YouTube channels on Switzerland, and I'll link it in the description below. Now, if you're into hiking and nature, you'll really enjoy this place. It's this valley surrounded by massive mountains on both sides and home to those golden larches. To get there from Oceanense, you can take this train that you drive your car onto.
Let me tell you how American I am. Obviously, if you're not new to my channel, you know how American I am. If you're new to my channel, let me tell you. Every time he says golden I guess larches. I guess that's the tree. I think he's saying golden arches, which is McDonald's. It's I don't mistake my laughter for not understanding how beautiful Switzerland is, because it is. But it's just every time he says it, I keep thinking golden arches, golden arches, and I'm starving because I don't eat breakfast. So I I I try to fast till like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm starving, and it's literally like it's 10:30 right now. Like he keeps saying golden arches.
To, and it'll take you through the mountain, and then it's just a short drive after. There's a big parking lot, and from there you can take about a 20-minute hike, and you'll reach this little alpine lake called Grundsee. I mean, it was so clean and clear, and had an impressive backdrop of the mountains. Now, if you're really up for adventure, you can hike up to the glacier, and there's some beautiful mountain huts up there. After, we're going to visit the idyllic village of Lugern. If you're on your way to visit the Jungfrau region from Zurich, you'll probably pass through Lugern. Now, one of my favorite features of this area is its lake. I really enjoyed just walking along this shore. It was so peaceful and serene. I mean, if you're looking for an idyllic Swiss village, you'll find it here. Another notable nearby village is Itterwald. It's a small municipality built on Lake Brienz. Now, one of the most notable features of the city is its castle, which sits perfectly on the picturesque peninsula. I mean, Switzerland just has too many scenic villages. Now, after, we're going to visit the Aletsch Glacier. Now, located in the Bernese Alps, the Aletsch Glacier is over 23 kilometers long, making it the longest glacier in Switzerland. I mean, just so freaking huge. When I got to the top, it was just hard to fathom the scale of this glacier, and I found the uniform dark lines of shattered rock so interesting. When you're up at the top, you can enjoy a meal at the restaurant, or you could hike to the cross on Egeshorn Peak to get a panoramic view of the glacier. Now, at the very end of Aletsch Glacier is the Jungfrau Joch. Me and my buddies decided to take Europe's highest train to the top. Now, normally the tickets in summertime cost around $240, but we got the early bird special, so it was half off. We rode the train up the mountain. Halfway, we made a pit stop, and we were able to see the glacier. After the pit stop, we got back on the train and made it to the top. When you reach the final stop, you'll get off the train and go through some tunnels. It was a little confusing to me. Anyways, we made it to the ice plateau, and we were able to get an incredible view of the glacier below. After, we went on top of the Sphinx Observatory to get some more amazing views. Now, one of the coolest parts of Jungfrau Joch is the glacier tunnels. You're able to walk through these tunnels carved out of ice, and surprisingly, it wasn't too cold or slippery. While a trip to Jungfrau Joch is expensive, I think everyone should do it at least once in their life. After, we're going to head down to the magical village of Lauterbrunnen. This is possibly the most beautiful village on earth. It's a valley of over 72 waterfalls, and it inspired J.R.R. Tolkien's Rivendell. To get to Lauterbrunnen, it's about a 2-hour drive from Zurich. The Stavak Falls is one of the most magical features of Lauterbrunnen. It falls over 297 meters into the valley. If you do visit Lauterbrunnen, I recommend just walking around the village and marveling at all the beauty Lauterbrunnen has to offer. After, we're going to visit the village of Mürren. Now, just from Lauterbrunnen, it's just a few minutes drive down the valley. Now, the city is just enchanting. It's filled with Swiss chalets and incredible views. The main reason I wanted to go to Mürren is to do the iconic Via Ferrata. I rented some gear at the Intersport store for about $25, and I was all ready to go. Before you start, you walk through this tunnel. It's a good initiation and gets you pumped or nervous for what's to come. You then follow the path, and it's pretty chill for the first bit. You just walk through a little forest, but then you get to the cliffs. There was this base jump platform to jump into the valley below. Just standing on it made my stomach drop. Anyways, after that, the Via Ferrata gets a little wild. My favorite part is the section that goes across this sheer cliff face with the 1,000-foot drop right below you. I mean, it's perfectly safe as long as you're clipped in to the iron wire with your gear. After the cliff section, we continued on the trail, and the final obstacle is a bridge that goes over a deep canyon. This was honestly the scariest part for me because it was kind of shaky towards the middle, and the 1,000-foot plus drop is intimidating, but nonetheless, I finished and made it to the town of Gimmelwald. It took me about 2 hours to do, and it was just so freaking fun. Another incredible place to visit in the area is Schilthorn.
No,
it's
I'm
an
not doing
iconic
that.
mountain peak above Mürren. Now, the lift tickets were on the pricey side, around $125 a person.
Wow.
You take up several lifts through the clouds until you reach the top. The Schilthorn is famous for being featured in the 1969 James Bond film. There's a lot of 007 memorabilia on top. The views are jaw-dropping up there. You'll get clear views of the Jungfrau, Monk, and Eiger Mountains. You can enjoy a meal in the rotating restaurant that completes a full rotation every 45 minutes. We followed a trail that led us on the ridge. I saw a guy preparing to paraglide, and we found some little huts to shelter from the wind. The weather conditions change so fast up there. 1 second it would be clear, and then a few minutes later it would be covered in clouds. I mean, gotta love those high altitude conditions. Now, after exploring Schilthorn, you can take the gondola to the lower station of Berg. There's incredible views and a place to have a meal. There's also the Thrill Walk attraction,
Wow.
which has several fun obstacles, whether it's walking on a tightrope or crawling through a wire tube with quite a drop below. It's sure to get your adrenaline pumping. Now, for our final destination, we're going to visit Zermatt. It's a charming village shadowed over by the daunting Matterhorn mountain, and there's just something magical about this place. Now, the city is full of shops and restaurants, including my favorite, McDonald's.
The Golden
Now,
Arches.
one thing you gotta do while you're there is take the Gonnergrat Railway. It starts in Zermatt and takes you up to 3,100 meters to enjoy some of the best views of the Matterhorn. We got up super early to take the first train and climbed up the mountain. I was just baffled by the views. Now, we got off at the Lauterbrunnen station, and I was just so freaking excited. I've been wanting to come here for years, and it lived up to the hype. There are 2 lakes that offer some of the best views of the Matterhorn, and if the conditions are just right, you can see a perfect reflection of the world famous peak. Not only is the views magical, but there are some of the cutest sheep I've ever seen. They have the curliest hair and twisted horns and look like an animal you would find in a fantasy novel. Now, after running around, we took the train to the top of the railway to the Gornergrat. It's one of the coolest hotels that I'd love to stay at one day.
Cool.
It reminds me of an evil villain's hideout. Once again, you'll get incredible views of the Matterhorn and the massive glacier below. Now, if you want to get up close and personal to the Matterhorn, I'd recommend you take the gondola up to Schwarzsee. It costs about $60 a person, and you get on the
Jeez.
lift in Zermatt. It then takes you up to this little mountain lake called Schwarzsee, and from there you can hike up to the base of the Matterhorn. And this was probably one of my favorite things we did in Zermatt. You get a chance to see the Matterhorn up close, and it's just so freaking incredible. I truly think mountains give off some sort of energy because I'm always amped and excited when I'm near them. If you're in Zermatt, you gotta do this hike. Well, that is it for my Switzerland top 25. There's still so many places I want to show you, so be expecting a part 2. Let me know where your favorite place is in Switzerland in the comments below. It's Ryan, and we will see you later.
Well, there you go. It's our first video in Switzerland. What a beautiful place. I'd be interested to see how much snow there is, during the winter. But boy, I mean, it's beautiful. I'm a little surprised at how expensive it is, for transportation and such. But he did say that Zurich is an expensive city, and I guess Switzerland's an expensive country. I'll have to investigate some of that. Ryan likes to focus a lot on the nature of a country. So I'll check out some other videos on maybe some of the cities. But wow, what a great first video. It's beautiful. I mean, there's no doubt. There'll be more to come on Switzerland. If you're new to my channel, it's anything and everything that interests me as an average middle-aged American. That includes international travel, learning about other cultures, learning more about my own country, America, and even learning about what other people think about America and Americans. So I appreciate it if you subscribed. It doesn't hurt you, and it helps me quite a bit. And we're going to go all through Europe, video-wise, and then wife and I are going to start planning some itinerary, as we go into retirement. And while we're in retirement, we plan on seeing quite a bit of Europe. Obviously not one trip. Anyway, that will do it for today. I do appreciate you, and I will see you soon.